In the days of Noah, the world was a place of darkness. Corruption had seeped into every corner of society, and mankind, created in the image of God, had turned away from him. People lived only for themselves, committing acts of violence and cruelty without remorse. Families were torn apart by greed, neighbors betrayed one another, and lawlessness spread like a disease. The beauty of the world God had created was overshadowed by the evil in men's hearts. God looked upon the earth and saw that it was filled with wickedness. His heart was grieved, for the world had fallen far from its original purpose. But amidst the sea of corruption, there was one man who remained faithful: Noah. Unlike the others, Noah walked with God. He was righteous, humble, and obedient, a man of integrity in a time of moral decay. God's favor rested upon Noah, and it was through him that the world would be given a second chance. One day, as Noah went about his daily work, tending to his land and animals, he heard the voice of God. Noah, God called, his voice filled with both sorrow and hope. The earth is filled with violence and corruption. I have decided to bring an end to all flesh, for the world has strayed too far from my ways. I will send a great flood to cleanse the earth of its wickedness. Noah stood still, his heart pounding in his chest as he listened. The weight of the message was almost too much to bear. A flood? An end to all life? But God's voice continued, steady and clear. Build yourself an ark of cypress wood. Make rooms in it and coat it with pitch inside and out. This ark will save you, your family, and pairs of every living creature. For I will establish my covenant with you, and through you, life will continue. Noah, though shaken by the enormity of what he had heard, did not hesitate. He trusted in God completely, knowing that his will was righteous and just. Without question, he set out to do what God had commanded. He gathered his sons Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and together they began the monumental task of building the ark. The ark was unlike anything anyone had ever seen. It was a massive structure, 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. The wooden beams were strong, and the walls were thick, designed to withstand the raging floodwaters that would soon cover the earth. As they worked, day after day, week after week, people from the surrounding villages came to watch. They laughed at Noah and his sons, mocking them as they toiled under the hot sun. "What is this giant boat for, Noah?" they jeered. "There's no sea for miles around. You've lost your mind." The laughter and ridicule grew louder with each passing day, but Noah paid them no mind. His faith in God was unshakable. He knew that the flood was coming, just as God had said, and he continued his work with steadfast determination. Years passed, and the ark slowly took shape. Noah's neighbors had grown tired of mocking him and had returned to their wicked ways, completely oblivious to the looming disaster. But Noah and his family pressed on. Finally, the day came when the ark was complete. Noah stood back and gazed at the enormous vessel, his heart filled with both awe and gratitude. It was done just as God had commanded. Then, God spoke to Noah once more. "Noah, gather your family and bring them into the ark, for the time has come. Take with you 2 of every kind of animal, male and female, and bring them into the ark, so that they may be saved along with you." Noah and his sons spread out, gathering the animals as God had instructed. Lions and lambs, eagles and doves, elephants and mice, all creatures, great and small, came to Noah. It was a sight unlike anything the world had ever seen. The animals, usually wild and unpredictable, walked calmly into the ark, guided by God's hand. Noah marveled at the sight, knowing that this was a sign of God's great power and mercy. Once all were safely inside, Noah, his wife, his sons, their wives, and all the animals, God himself shut the door of the ark. The sky, once bright and clear, darkened as heavy clouds gathered. The wind began to howl, and soon the first drops of rain began to fall. At first it was just a drizzle, but it quickly turned into a torrential downpour. The heavens opened, and water poured down in sheets, while the fountains of the deep erupted, sending water rushing over the land. Rivers overflowed, valleys became lakes, and soon the water covered the highest hills. The people outside the ark, who had once mocked Noah, now screamed in terror, realizing too late that the flood was real. But it was too late. The door of the ark was sealed, and the waters rose higher and higher, until all living creatures outside the ark were swept away. For 40 days and 40 nights the rain continued, and the ark was lifted up by the floodwaters. Inside, Noah and his family prayed and waited. The animals, too, were calm, sensing the peace that came from being under God's protection. The ark floated on the vast, endless ocean that now covered the earth, with no land in sight. But God had not forgotten Noah. After the rain stopped, he sent a wind to blow over the earth, and the waters began to recede. Slowly the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. Noah waited patiently, sending out a raven and then a dove to see if the waters had dried. Finally, after many days, the dove returned with an olive leaf, a sign that the earth was beginning to dry. When the time was right, God spoke to Noah once again. "Come out of the ark, you and your family, and bring the animals with you. Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth once more." Noah and his family stepped out of the ark, their feet touching dry land for the first time in months. The world was new, cleansed of its corruption, and filled with the promise of new beginnings. Noah built an altar and offered sacrifices to God in thanksgiving for his mercy and protection. God was pleased with Noah's offering and made a covenant with him, promising never to destroy the earth with a flood again. As a sign of this covenant, God placed a rainbow in the sky, a symbol of his promise to Noah and all future generations. Whenever Noah and his family looked up and saw the rainbow, they were reminded of God's faithfulness and grace. And so, Noah and his family began the task of rebuilding their lives, replenishing the earth, and living in harmony with God's creation. Through Noah's obedience, the world was given a fresh start, and the story of God's mercy and love would be passed down for generations to come.